What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a full face using a new brand, well, a brand that's new to me, and I haven't seen them around before, so I'm assuming that they're new in general, but I could be wrong. The brand is PROFUSION Cosmetics. PROFUSION reached out to me about 2 weeks ago and asked me if I would like to try some products, and I said yes, indeed I would. And I didn't realize at the time how incredibly affordable these products were. So when they came, I swatched some stuff on Instagram stories and I was like, oh yeah, she's cute, like we'll try it out, whatever. The other day I went to Target and I saw a bunch of PROFUSION on the end cap and I saw the prices and I was blown away. So this palette here, which is 21 shades, it's called their Confidence palette, is $10. This 10 shade palette called the Chestnut Eyes palette is only $5. I know. Also got some brow products that come in a little brow kit that's around the $5 mark as well. A lip kit with 3 products that's right around the $5 mark. When I say affordable, it's like affordable. But affordable is not very helpful unless it's good. So we are going to try all of the products out today. I will then kind of do a summary at the end of this video and let you guys know what I think in general. So let's jump in and get started on this face because we have a lot of stuff to try. But before we get into it, please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a second because it helps me tremendously and I would appreciate it until the end of time. And also, if you are new here, go ahead and subscribe just in case you forget later. That would be terrible, and I would feel all sorts of negative emotions about it. All right, let's just go back in time before I had this full face on and get started trying out all these PROFUSION products. The first product that we're going to be trying is the Beautiful Brows Kit. There's a powder brow palette in here, a brow brush, and a brow pencil. I am very, very skeptical of this for multiple reasons. Mostly though, because these colors look really, really light for me, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get the brows that we need and desire out of this kit. I'm also trying to open it with my nails and talk at the same time, which is probably not a good idea. But in spite of my skepticism, I'm going to try. So the brow powders have a brow primer, a brow bone highlight that is matte, and then 2 different shades for your brows. One is taupe and one is soft brown. And then there's the brow defining pencil. This is one of those brow pencils that has like a little wedge shape, sort of like the Goof Proof brow pencil from Benefit, or Anastasia has one too. I can't remember the name of what they call theirs though, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So far, I think the packaging of this is really, really nice for the price point. I'm actually shocked at like how sturdy this feels. Caps stay on really well. All of that's really good for the price point so far. So I'm gonna start by going into the front of my brows. I'm just creating little hair strokes and seeing if I can get a look out of this. Okay, so as far as like making little hair strokes goes, that's actually really nice. All right, let's try to get like a little more of a defined line under this portion of the brow. So the pencil itself is a little bit softer than I normally go for with these types of brow pencils, but it's working really nicely. It's not difficult to work with at all, and so far I definitely don't hate it. I wish it was like 1 shade darker for my brows, but all things considered, this isn't even that bad of a match. Like I could make this work on its own. I'm gonna take the brow brush provided and go into the powder shade in the color Soft Brown. I'm gonna run that through the center portion of my brow. Just wanna give it a little bit of like a filled in look where it needs it, just to see. Not too shabby. So next up, we have 2 separate eyeshadow palettes. One of them is called the Confidence palette, and this is the Chestnut Eyes palette. So what I want to do today is use some shades from each one of these palettes to create an eye look, just to get an idea overall of how their eyeshadows work. I'm kind of feeling like maybe I need to do like a reddish eye with the Confidence palette and then like a little pop of color on the inner corner with the Chestnut palette. Maybe a little this guy here on the inner corner or something like that. That's my thoughts so far. I'm gonna use my own brushes when I see fit, but I'm also going to try out the brushes that come with them just so we can get an idea of the quality of the brushes as well. These actually don't seem so bad. Usually brushes that come in a palette kind of suck, but these seem like they're decent, so I'm gonna try them out. So I'm gonna start with the Chestnut Eyes palette, and I'm going to just use the shade New Wave right here as a transition, doing that on the fluffy brush that came in the palette. Okay, so far we have decent pigment. The brush is definitely decent as well. Don't hate that brush at all, considering that it's a brush that came in any palette, never mind one that's $5. Just blending the edge of that with a Sigma E40. The brush that came in this palette, in the Confidence palette, is actually like, it's like hefty. I'm not gonna use that quite yet though, because I want something smaller. So I'm gonna pick up the MAC 221S brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Secure here, which is this bright orange, and I'm gonna start going through the crease with that. And again, this is giving me a really good amount of pigment. That's not bad. It's going back into New Wave really quick and bringing that up a little higher because I don't like how low I blended that. I'm gonna take the flatter end of the brush that came in the Chestnut palette, and I'm going to use that to pack the shade Madly all over the lid. Okay, so far that color, it's a very, very pretty shade, but it's applying kind of patchy, and it looks a little bit better in person than it does on the screen here, but I can tell even in person that it's not perfect. It's not like I'm blending it away too hard or anything, like literally just patting it over itself, and it's kind of giving me like an uneven amount of darkness. Like over here is darker than right there. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm talking about. I wish it would go on evenly because the color itself is stunning. Okay, so I tried working that shade in a bit more, and honestly, it's just not working for me. So in an attempt to make this look a little bit more acceptable, since I do have to go live my life wearing this makeup for the rest of the day, I'm gonna go into one of the shimmer shades. I'm gonna go into Bite right here on a flat end of one of the brushes that came in the palette, and I'm going to try packing that over the color Madly to try to make it more even. So hopefully layering the two of them will make it a little bit more lovely. I'm sad that it's not a better performing shade. I'm gonna put down this brush because this brush sucks, actually, just FYI. I'm sad that it's not a shade that performs a little better because I really like the color. I'm just using an Alamar Cosmetics brush to pat that over the top. It's a nice flat brush. Okay, that definitely looks more acceptable now. For the inner corner, I want to do a pop of color, so I'm going to go back into the Chestnut Eye palette and into the shade Atlantis, which is right here. I'm taking that on a pencil brush, and I'm going to attempt to use it first without wetting it, just to see how it performs, and then if I feel like we need a little bit extra, I'm going to wet the brush with some Fix Plus. That color's pretty, but it is applying a little bit sheer, so I'm going to wet it with a little Fix Plus and see how that works. Much better. Still, even though I put that shimmer over the matte shade, it's almost like the matte shade is kind of disappearing in my crease. It's like fading away in patches even just as I sit here, which, no. For the lower portion of the eyes, I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm going to go back into the Chestnut palette and smoke it out with this shade Outlaw here. I'm going to use a Luxie number 111 brush and just literally only smoke out that shade on the lower lash line and just connect it into the top. Keep it real simple. I kind of just want to see how the other matte shades that are similar to that one, what was it called? Madly, that I didn't like, to see how they perform. Like, do they all have issues or is it just that one? So far, that is so much better than Madly, and I am going to actually bring it up into my crease to try to improve the top. Oh, so much better. Oh, Oh, thank God. Okay, I think that kind of saved this. I think I'm not mad at it anymore. All right, I popped on House of Lashes Allura Light Lashes, and I put a little bit of Urban Decay Deep End Pencil through my waterline. And now that it's done and I finished it off with that other shade, I actually really don't dislike this look. It was just that one shade, it was just not it. That shade was not it. But the rest of them are pretty nice, and the shimmers in particular are really pretty. Like the one Atlantis that I used in my inner corner, like that looks like a high-end shade. Like it's pigmented, it's smooth, it's really reflective. If this was in a high-end palette, I wouldn't question it, you know? It's really just a couple of the matte shades that were a little bit, Okay, next we have the Mixed Metals kit. This comes with a Mixed Metals face and eye palette, a brush, and a metallic eyeliner. I'm not going to use the eyeliner today because I don't think it has any place in this look, but that's what it looks like. It looks real pretty in the tube if you ask me. I'm gonna swatch it on the back of my hand just so we can see, just get an idea of how it looks and how it'll look if you apply it as a liner. That's how it looks on the back of my hand. It's kind of like a rose gold color. It has a little bit of like different duochrome shifts in it. It doesn't seem to be completely opaque. It looks more like it's meant to be like a glitter liner because there are like little chunks of glitter in it. So maybe treat it like that and you'll get a better result. I'm gonna try it on my eyes sometime this week though, and I'll keep you guys posted about what I think on like my Instagram story or something though. So from the Mixed Metals palette, I'm going to try some of the cheek shades. I'm going to use the blush and the highlight. So I'm going to highlight first. The highlight shade is called Visionary. I like to apply highlighter first, especially when I don't know how the highlight's going to perform, because I find that if a highlighter isn't what I want it to be and I wind up going over it with blush, usually the blush can help me like blend it into the skin if it's got like that chalky look. Hopefully we don't have to deal with that. Just in case. I'm gonna pop that onto my cheekbones with the highlight brush that I always use. The highlight is nice. It's a little bit on the yellow side for what I usually go for. Personally, I gravitate more toward like whitey, silvery, or like pink toned highlighters, but the texture of it's nice. It's definitely giving me a lot of highlightiness. It's not, you know, it's not dull or anything. And it's applying smoothly and does not look chalky on the skin. So far, thumbs up from me. It's definitely emphasizing the texture on my cheeks just a little bit. Most highlighters do, so not super surprising there, but it's not the most smooth highlight I've ever worn either. And the blush is called Sweetheart. I'm gonna pop that on the cheeks as well. The blush actually has, like, it seems almost like a satiny shimmer finish to it too. Not quite a full-on shimmer, but it's definitely got a little bit of glow. And the final thing I want to try today is the Lips to Go kit. To be honest, I'm not super crazy about the idea of pairing this eye with a red lip, but that's all I got. That's what we're gonna do. The lip kits, I believe, are $5, and they come with a liner, a lipstick, and a gloss. And on the back, they suggest that you line your lips and then add the lipstick and then top it with the gloss, which is generally how I would use this anyway. The lip liner smells like coconut. I don't think I've ever tried a scented lip liner before. That's so unexpected. Get it with this. Looks very matte. And topping it with the Lip Strobe gloss. All right, that's not what I would have paired with this look, but as far as like the actual quality of the products is concerned, it's not bad. Like the liner was coconut scented, which I wasn't expecting, but I liked that. It was a pleasant coconut scent. The lipstick feels a little dry as you're applying it, like you kind of gotta get in there with it, but you know, whatever, it's not like the worst. It's just not super creamy, and the lip strobe is very, very pretty. I'm curious to see how it would look without the other products, because I feel like maybe on its own it wouldn't really hold up, but it's very comfortable and very balmy. It doesn't feel sticky, which is nice. Okay, so Profusion PROFUSION. What do I think? As far as drugstore brands and like at a true drugstore price point is concerned, they're really, really good. I would say the level of quality, if you're looking for a reference, it reminds me a lot of the e.l.f. palette that I did a review on recently. Can't remember the name of it, but it's the one that's split between the cool side and the warm side. It's like, you know, one of their bigger palettes. It's more colorful. If you have not seen the review of that, I will link it up here on the screen if you'd like to go watch that. But it's similar in that a lot of the shades are really, really, really good, but there are also a couple of flops mixed in. Personally, for me, with a palette this size, I can deal with one or two shades that's not the best if the rest of it is really good. Out of the two palettes I used today, I think, surprisingly, I actually like the Chestnut Eyes palette better. I really, really like the shade Atlantis that we use on the inner corner. And this chestnutty shade Outlaw over here, it's kind of like, it's mauve-y, browny, but it is absolutely beautiful. It went on super smooth, and to be honest, it saved this whole look after applying the color Madly from the Confidence palette and feeling like it was almost unsalvageable. That being said, the shimmers in both palettes all seem to be really pretty. I didn't have any issues with them whatsoever. Even the dark burgundy one that I put over the lid really smoothed everything out. There was some fallout, not a ton, but enough that if I did this again, I would definitely choose to do my concealer last. I didn't today because I got to go somewhere after this and I was in a little bit of a rush and I thought I could get away with it, and I was wrong. As far as the Mixed Metals palette, I did not actually dip into any of the shadows in here, but the highlight and the blush were actually really nice. Like I said, the highlight's a little bit more yellow than I normally go for, but the texture of it was just fine. And the blush is right in that vein of the kind of colors of blush that I usually like. It was nice and glowy, it was pigmented, it went on smooth. I have no complaints with either of those really. As far as the lip products, I thought they all performed pretty well. The lip liner I think is nicer than the lipstick. The lipstick it's perfectly fine, but it does feel like you have to go in like a lot of times to get it opaque. It's not patchy, it just kind of seems a little bit sheer at first, and it's a little bit of a drier formula, so it's not like a creamy one swipe application. The liner and the lipstick both seem to have like a coconutty scent, which I've never in my life experienced a scented lip liner before, so I really wasn't expecting that. It's pretty pleasant in my opinion, but it's definitely noticeable as you're putting it on your lips, so if you don't like scented stuff, you might not like that. The lip strobe is nice and creamy. It's very comfortable on my lips. It does not feel like sticky or glossy or anything like that right now. It feels very, very balmy. I do feel like there's some discrepancy in the quality of packaging throughout the brand. For example, the lip liner seems like you could almost look at this and be like, oh, that's a high-end lip liner, but the packaging on the lipstick, not so much. And even as far as the palettes are concerned, so the Confidence palette, the $10 palette, this kind of gives me the same kind of vibes as like a NYX palette or say an e.l.f. palette or something like that, where it's like, you know, that thinner clear plastic. It's not terrible as far as those are concerned. This is actually less like scratched up and like dirty looking right off the bat than a lot of the NYX ones that I've used before. But the Chestnut Eyes palette is definitely way more sturdy, way more heavy duty, and way more hefty, especially considering it's a $5 palette. The packaging on this is really, really nice. It almost reminds me of the packaging of the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. Even the color is very similar to that. And one thing I thought was really interesting that they did is they put a little sticker that looks like the inside of the palette, so you can see, even though it's not a clear case, exactly what you're buying on the drugstore shelf, which I think is pretty neat. Also, it seems like that's easy to remove, so if you didn't want that on your palette and you want it a little more sleek, you can take that off, and I don't think it'd be an issue. Let me see, it actually came off in 2 big chunks pretty much. So if you don't want it to be on there, you want it to look a little more sleek in the makeup bag, you have that option too. I think it is a neat idea though, so that's pretty cool. Oh, and as far as the brow stuff, the brow brush, the brush is a little bit too thick for a brow brush in my opinion. I like my brow brushes to be a lot smaller than this, but considering that it is used to apply powder for the most part, it does the job. It's just nothing to write home about, and also there's a couple little stray hairs coming off of mine. The brow powders are not bad at all. I felt like they were pigmented enough. I felt like they filled in the sparse areas of my brows really quickly. Why am I holding this brush that has nothing to do with this in my hand? Why, Nicole? The brow powders filled in patches in the sparse areas of my brows very quickly, and they looked pretty natural. And the pencil, it wasn't bad at all. It's a little bit more soft and maybe a little waxy feeling than I usually prefer for a brow pencil, but it did the job. I was able to get some thin strokes to make little hairs in the front. Maybe not as thin as something like Benefit Precisely My Brow or the Kat Von D Signature Brow or something like that, but considering that it's a fatter pencil with a little skinny point, the skinny point gets the job done. I do wish that this color was a little bit darker. They only sent me this one. I'm not sure if there are more colors. I'll have to look it up on their website after this video, and I will, of course, link everything in the description below and let you guys know the exact price and where it's available and all of that, and if there are more colors and stuff like that. So if you have any questions about that type of thing, check the description. I'm going to list everything. In general, as far as truly affordable drugstore brands are concerned, I think that this brand is looking really promising. I'm excited to see what else they come out with in the future. I love to be able to find like bargains in the drugstore or in Target that are like actually really good. Like, it makes me so happy when I find things that I can actually recommend to you guys that are super duper affordable. Like I said, I ran into some issues with some of the products, but overall, I think that it's a big win. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. Have you tried any of their palettes? Have you tried their eyeshadows? Have you tried the lipsticks, the brows, whatever? Let me know what you think. I would love to hear it. Are you excited to see some brands doing some more interesting, fun stuff at a really affordable price point? I always like to see new brands coming out and doing this because, I don't know, there's like a flood of high-end stuff all the time, and sometimes my wallet hurts a little, you know? Please do not forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, because it really helps me out and I would super appreciate it. It also lets me know that you guys like this type of content. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe because I would love to have you around for future videos. If you would like to keep up with me between videos, go ahead and follow me on other social media. I'm at Miss Quinn Face on pretty much every platform. The one I use the most is Instagram. So if you really want to keep up with me on the day-to-day, you can go over there, check out my stories, and I post a lot of my makeup looks over there, plus some more like editorial funky stuff, lip art, things like that. So come check it out over there. Say hello. Let me know you came from YouTube. I think that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.